Good evening. My name is Daren Rubins. I'm at PhD. Can I have a quick show of hands to see who here works in a creative advertising agency? Show of hands. That's at least half of you. Who works for a digital agency? Okay, quite a few of you. Who works in a media agency? Excellent. Okay, so it's slightly more creative because there is a certain irony here, of course, where when I started in advertising, it's about 25 years ago, and I joined what used to be known as a full service advertising agency called Y&R. And of course, what used to happen in pitches is they would say, "I know, let's do the good ideas up front, and then we'll do the media at the back end." And of course, I tip up here tonight, and originally I was meant to be on earlier, and I just got moved further and further back. And then, of course, what happens in the pitches? What happens in the pitches is that the creative execution and the ideas would all kind of come to life, and everyone gets carried away, and they all discuss it. And then media, you sort of stand up there and they go, "You've just got 2 minutes. Is that all right?" And anyway, so I thank you, Chris, just for taking me back there. I've got to, yeah. I knew that was coming. Who's here from PhD, by the way? Can you put your hands up? Fantastic. Okay, I just want to say one thing to you, which is your job is to amaze me. Okay, I love that. Okay, so I wanted to talk about two things. I'll only be very quick. The first one is around something which interests me massively, which is around the diversity of talent. So I know that the IPA have recently launched quite an interesting program called Diversity in Advertising. It's a little ad for them now because it's fascinating when you read the numbers that 90% of our industry is white, and even more scary that given that I think over 3/4 of all ads are aimed at women, trying to persuade women to do something. 90% of those are actually created by men. So diversity is a real issue in our industry. But I wanted to talk about a different side of diversity, which is diversity of experience. So my piece of advice is this one here, which is around hiring for attitude and training for skills. And the guy that came out with this statement is a guy called Herb Kelleher, who is the founder of Southwest Airlines in the States. He's still the CEO of Southwest Airlines, despite the fact that he's 81 years old. And he came out with this piece of advice. Unfortunately, I didn't get it firsthand from him. I got it from Omnicom University. They sent me away to be brainwashed 3 years ago. And this is the one thing that I came back with, because for me it's absolutely fundamental. And it kind of gets split into two areas. The first one around hiring for attitude. And of course that makes sense, doesn't it? Of course you don't want someone with a shitty attitude. But interestingly, 89% of people that fail in a job fail because of their attitude, not because of their skills. So you can see just how important this is. When people say, "Yeah, but what attitudes are you looking for?" Well, it's quite obvious, isn't it? You're looking for someone that's enthusiastic, someone that's passionate about what they do. You're looking for a great work ethic, ideally someone with integrity, and someone with initiative. And I guess at PhD, we try and wrap that all together, and we call it someone that tries to find a better way. But I was reading the other day about if you're looking for one thing, one character trait for someone that you want to hire, what is it? And that is optimism. And it's optimism because apparently if you're optimistic, you're more likely to perform at a high level. And if you're optimistic, you're more likely to bounce back from failure. And if you're optimistic, you're less likely to sue someone's arse if it all goes pear-shaped. So that's what you want to look for in a person. But what I wanted to really spend some time talking about is the second part of this, which is around the training for skills, because the clue is in the title here. Training for skills kind of intimates that there is a compromise to be made here. If you get someone with exactly the right attitude, the chances are they won't necessarily have all the skills that you're looking for. And that's quite an interesting area, because for a lot of people that's quite scary. That's a bad thing. I don't want to compromise on someone's skills. And for me, that is a wonderful thing, because our business is transforming at the moment. And what we need more than anything is a breadth of skills. So I just wanted to give a very short story about something which happened to me last week. In fact, it started 2 years ago. I met a young lady from a recruitment agency, and I had a really good chat with her, and I thought, you will be amazing in a media company. You will just be fantastic. You're a great salesperson, great communicator. And it took me 2 years to convince her that she would be great in a media agency. So what I did is I passed her name onto our recruitment team, and they got in touch with some various people from around our group, and they passed the name on. And I checked it out with this girl a couple of weeks later, and I said, look, how have you got on? And she said, no, they won't interview me. So I got on the phone and I said to our recruitment people, why wouldn't they recruit her? And they said, well, she hasn't got the 3 years of media skills that we want. And personally, I've taken this to heart, as you can see, because I think we've failed that person. And I think we're failing as a business if we don't embrace new skills. So I just wanted to talk to you about my own journey, really, over the past 3 years, because I've fought tirelessly to try and get people into our business who have come from different backgrounds. So I've transitioned one of our broadcast directors, someone that bought television, into our head of digital. I've hired from a creative digital agency our digital strategy director. I've brought someone in from PR who is our chief strategy officer. I've brought a client in who's now our head of marketing and new business. So I would implore all of you to think outside, and to any of you sitting here, particularly from creative agencies, join a media. No. I would just implore you to try and get the broadest amount of skill, and also to think very, very laterally when you're hiring people. Don't just think about who's got 3 years experience or what I want tomorrow, and think about what they could bring to the business over the next few years. I guess the important thing here is that the skills that you have that have brought you to this point today aren't going to be the skills that take you to the next point tomorrow. But the attitude that has brought you here is absolutely critical for you to hang on to. So that was my first one. The second one is a very quick one, which is from the legendary ad man, Nigel Bogle. And I read this article, I think it was in 2007, 2008, and he talked about only ever being 3 calls away from disaster. And I thought, what on earth is he talking about there? What on earth is he talking about? 2009, I received 3 phone calls. All in quick succession. One of them was from Cadbury, funnily enough, because they got bought by Kraft. And it didn't take long before Kraft thought, actually, I'm sure there's something to be saved by putting those 2 businesses together and pitching the media. Around the same time, ING Direct decided that they wanted to look at their European consolidation. And another client within our group, a large retailer, decided to through procurement reasons, have a look at what was out there. And it made me realise just how fickle our business is. The huge changes, the disruption that's going on at the moment through globalisation, the cyclical structure that's changing in regard to things going from analog to digital, and the structural changes that are happening as well, and of course all the recessionary changes. So you put all of that together, and of course you're going to get phone calls. And the message really here is you can prepare for these things. You absolutely can anticipate them. And we went into a situation where we had to pitch for all 3 accounts within 17 days. It was 43% of our business. And not only did we hang on to all 3, but we also added Kraft to that mix as well. So it absolutely is possible if you anticipate it. Thank you very much.